and obey him.
Okay, obey is a strong.
And obey him.
Okay, obey is a strong word. I submit, but obey is a whole other issue. That's a whole other level to me. The
I have with me Jacqueline Holness. She's an author, blogger, Christian, and an expert on relationship. She has a brand new book out, brand new book, Destination Wedding. And Jacqueline, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
I really do appreciate it. How did you come up with the idea of this book? It's a very interesting title, Destination Wedding.
Well, first of all, I love romantic love specifically, but this idea for this book came to me about 10 years ago in December. I was a single Black woman in Atlanta, and my a relationship that I had just ended, so I was upset about that. And then I saw a report on ABC News Nightline that said 42% of Black women weren't getting married, and it was twice the amount. I saw a report on ABC News Nightline that said 42% of Black women weren't getting married. ABC News Nightline that said 42% of Black women weren't getting married, and it was twice the amount, and they focus
What's good, guys? What's good, guys? What's good? It's your boy, Mr. OKL, coming back at y'all boys again. Hit that like button, subscription button, and also that notification bell. We are going to get right into this video now. I do have to connotate it before I get into it just to make sure you guys are aware of what's going on. Okay, so today's video is called JLP as Jacqueline Holness and JLP. That's Jesse Lee Peterson. In case y'all don't know who that is, he's asking Jacqueline Holness, why can't Black women find husbands? And it's an OKL reaction. Let's get right on into it, guys. This is a modern woman breakdown, a modern Black woman breakdown that I wanted to bring to you. So let's get again, like let's get right on into it. I don't even want to waste no time. Like I'm doing too much talking already. Let's get right into it. Let's stop playing.
specifically on women.
And obey him.
Okay, obey is a strong word. I submit, but obey is a whole other issue. That's a whole other level to me. Uh,
I hope
Jacqueline,
y'all
wholeness.
peep what she messed up at already. I hope y'all listen to what she messed up at already. Run it back so y'all can hear what she said.
Oh, and obey him.
okay, obey is a strong word. I submit, but obey is a whole other issue. That's a whole other level to me. Uh,
So she said obey is a strong word. She submits, but obey is a whole nother issue. Let me take the video down so that we can look at the word obey together, guys. What does obey mean? Let's do it because I don't like the contradiction from not only modern women but just people in general. Okay, so as you guys can see in front of your face, I'm gonna take my icon off the bottom. I'm gonna take everything off. All right, I want y'all to just focus on the definition of what obey means. Obey means, and it's a verb. Comply with command, direction, or request of a person or a law. Puts a hyphen right there and it says submit to the authority of. Could be a person, could be a thing, could be whatever, but submission is contained in that definition. Just wanted to point that out so that we can go back and extract not only what she means, but what most modern women mean when they say, "Oh no, submission ain't no problem, but obey and this and that." Even though they have a problem with submission, they claim they like the word when they act like a wife. But they let's get into it, guys. Let's get into it because I'm here to break it down. I'm not here to play with you guys. I'm not here to play.
Oh, and obey him.
okay, obey is a strong word. I submit, but obey is a whole other issue. That's a whole other level to me.
I have with me Jacqueline Holness. She's an author, blogger, Christian, and an expert on relationship. She has a brand new book out, brand new book, Destination Wedding. And Jacqueline, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
I really do appreciate it. How did you come to this book? It's a very interesting.
Keep in mind, guys, this is a supposedly a professional, a dating coach, and all that crap that these women be when they claim that they elevated or whatever the case may be. This is an expert. We've seen the therapists shame black men. We see the politicians only work for black women, don't work for black men or the black family. We see what happened with Black Lives Matter and the people who run Black Lives Matter. All of these are predominant women who only care about their independent feelings in a sense that renders more than 50%, guys. Hear me out. I'm talking shit. I need y'all to hear me.
The idea of this book. It's a very interesting title, Destination Wedding.
Well, first of all, I love romantic love specifically, but this idea for this book came to me. I was a single Black woman in Atlanta, and a relationship that I had just ended. So I was upset about that. And then I saw a report on ABC News Nightline that said 42% of Black women weren't getting married, and it was twice the amount of white women that were in that same predicament. And they focus
How do we always keep ending up here, guys? Why do black women always blame white people for their detriment. Didn't talk about her relationship at all, said that she didn't like it, recognized that she was one of the statistics out of that 42%. And instead of saying, okay, how can I fix that? How can we, you know, look at it and hold ourselves accountable? She points to the white woman and she says, "Oh, it's like a crackhead. Like he smokes 3 crack rocks a day, and because he's not the crackhead that smokes 10 crack rocks a day, he don't want you to call him a crackhead because there's other people doing more crack than him." Do y'all get like the logic that they try to bring? I know y'all don't get it, but I'm bringing the logic and I want y'all to get it. That's why I'm breaking these videos down. And I don't get why they, you know, spew out this rhetoric all day and all night.
And then I saw a report on ABC News Nightline that said 42% of Black women weren't getting married, and it was twice the amount of white women that were in that same predicament. And they focused specifically on women, Black women in Atlanta. And at the time, I was very insulted by the report, but the report proved to be an inspiration for this novel, which is based.
So I want to say this, guys. If you look at the US Census, if you look at Black Demographic, even blackdemographics.com, and that website is, it's an organization of Black people who gathers research. We separate the races, okay? So just because you're a Black woman and you see most Black women are doing this, or this percentage of Black women are doing that, and that's effective towards the race of Black people, don't try to bring other people in the race. Don't try to say, well, Asian women do it too, and they have more numbers. Or don't try to say, well, white people do it too. Let me give you a mathematical reason why that's null and void. Black people make up 12 to 13, maybe 14% of America. I think it's like 13 point something. Okay. We don't even make up half of America. All right. White people make up more than 50% of America. So if white people's numbers are twice as much, guess what that means? The percentages still make them look better because the twice as much is out of the 13% compared to the 52% of white people. See, they don't want to go into this math. They just want to complain and argue. There's more white people here than there are Black people, but we are a minority here, and we're still effective in detriment. That's what we need to focus on. Stop focusing on the fact that, oh, there's way more of these people, so let's look at them and let's sweep everything under the rug. At one point, you got to lift the rug up and see what the fuck is up under that, because there's a dent in that rug. Every time I walk by and I try to wipe my feet, I feel some shit up under it. What's up under that rug? Let's stop sweeping shit up under the rug, okay, guys? Because that's not how we win. That is not how we win.
Black women in Atlanta. And at the time, 42% of Black women. So in December, I was a single Black woman in Atlanta, and a relationship that I had just ended. So I was upset about that. And then I saw a report on ABC News Nightline that said 42% of Black women weren't getting married, and it was twice the amount of white women that were in that same predicament. And they focused specifically on women, Black women in Atlanta. And at the time, I was very insulted by the report, but the report proved to be an inspiration for this novel, which is based on fictional Black women who see this report.
Right on. Um,
Absolutely not based on fictional Black women. I don't care how you feel, ma'am. It's a reality.
and why were you upset about the report? It's a true report. Why were you upset about it?
Because it just seemed to be focusing in on Black women. It made me feel like we were pitied by other people, that we could not find men or that wanted Black women. It just made me feel some kind of way.
What?
I can't I can't say this enough, guys. Whenever you hear a black woman or just a woman, period, saying it made her feel or I feel like, just understand it's not based in truth, logic, or statistical fact. It's based in what they just said, their feelings. So whatever feeling they have at the point, that's where they dwell on. That's what they dwell on. Okay, that's what they dwell on. That's what they dwell on. And I'm not lying. All right, I'm not lying. Look at this goddamn thumbnail I made, guys. I just feel like that's what they feel a certain way, and they think that's fact, but it's in fact not a fact. Okay, let's get into this video.
Sad about the report. It's a true report. Why were you upset about it?
Because it just seemed to be focusing in on Black women. It made me feel like we were pitied by other people, that we could not find men, that there weren't enough Black men or men in particular that wanted Black women. It just made me feel some kind of way.
What what is wrong with black women that they are not getting married? I noticed that a lot of black women are not getting married, especially today, and especially those who are educated. It seems as though the black man will look outside of the race to find a wife rather than within the race. Why is that?
I can't say that there's something wrong with Black women. You know, you would think by these reports that that is true. I think there's some larger issues that affect the suitability of Black men sometimes as marriage partners. Black men are more incarcerated than other men are, so that affects our marriage pool. A lot of times, Black men aren't given the same opportunities as
Now I want y'all to pay attention to something very closely, very closely, because she did state a fact. There's a lot of black men who are incarcerated, but she didn't use that 13% of black people in that black men, aka she blamed the man. So in one sentence, when they tell you that 42% of black women are not being married, she don't want to deal with that. She want to point to other races. She want to say, let's look at the white woman, let's look at their statistics, and let's not focus on ours because I feel some type of way. But when it comes to him questioning her on why black women are actually not married at a high rate, now she wants to blame the black man, and she wants to talk about Pookie and Ray Ray, how they're incarcerated. Guys, I want you to know something, okay? 51% of black men or more are either unmarried while being childless, or no, 51% of black men are unmarried and childless. 64% out of that 52 don't have kids, are not married, and guess what else? They are in the middle class, which is to say that they are suitable and they can take care of black women. 80% of these black women are dealing with a 15 to 20% of black men. So why is she speaking for a minority and expecting the majority, such as myself or such as other people? Why is she trying to make it seem as though it's us to blame? So she wants to talk about incarceration. That's a minority of black men, ma'am. A man like myself, who is a black man, is not Mr. OKL, does not have a criminal record. And I talk to brothers time in and time out who don't have criminal records, as well as brothers who do have criminal records. Hell, I got folks right now who are locked up in prison. Okay. But besides that, that's still a minority. That's still a choice. Why? In the heck do they always point to derogatory terms in black males when they try to justify female detriment? Jesse Lee Peterson specifically asked her, why are black women not married? Explain a minority of black men whom most of them choose. And I want to connotate that's not the reasoning. She's just trying to blame us. Let's get back right on into the video, guys.
The suitability of black men sometimes as marriage partners. Black men are more incarcerated than other men are, so that affects our marriage pool. A lot of times black men aren't given the same opportunities as other men, and so that affects their financial stability, and so that puts you don't want to necessarily marry someone that's going to bring you down. You want to be brought up, and so that affects our marriage pool.
Well, oh,
There are some issues that black
oh,
women can take ownership of, larger issues that affect the black community.
so you're gonna use racism to tell a black man he's too broke to date you? Guys, I'm gonna translate the womanese for you right now. Before I run it back, let me let you know what she just said. She said that there's too many pookies out there, which is what they only see. And then she also said that not enough black men are making enough money, and she tried to use racism with it. But the womanese in that, guys, I want y'all to know what she's saying is, black men, you don't make enough. I tell you all the time, God, I don't care if you make 50, 60K a year. I don't care if you have your own crib and you're able to take care of a woman. If you cannot give her the lifestyle she wants, she's either going to do, quote, bad by herself, which is to say that she's a single, strong, and independent woman, or she's going to find a man who's going to be able to do that for her. Maybe not wife her, but her hypergamous mind is going to render her to someone else who can do for her for a moment. All right. Maybe she might, use these moments and years and allow a man to keep smashing her, or maybe she might make the wrong decision and don't realize she's a mistress, guys. It's a lot of things. But what I want you to know is these black women always expose themselves when it comes to explaining why they are failing in the dating market. No, I'm not talking about your hot girl summers. No, I'm not talking about you're living your best lives, ladies. I'm talking about you reciprocating energies with a man, being a wife, being conducive, making yourself available, and locking down with that suitable man. They fail at that all the time. And it's their fault, not ours, guys. Stop letting them blame you.
Our marriage pool. There are some issues that black women can take ownership of. That's true, but I also think that there are some larger issues that affect the black community, specifically men, that makes marriage sometimes hard for the educated black woman.
What type of issues that black women need to take issue with or work out about themselves?
Well, I'll give myself an example. For instance, my father is a very educated man. Various degrees, the whole nine. And so I always had in my mind that I was going to marry someone just like him. And education is important. I believe in being educated, but the person doesn't have to exactly match who your father is. They can have some traits of your father, but they don't exactly have to match. So I took that.
My father was lame in my eyes, even though he did what he needed to do, even though I appreciated him. My hypergamous mind state will not allow me to accept a man who is just educated, which is why she said, again, guys, she connotated it by saying, oh, the white man is holding the black man down. That's why Most black men don't make enough money, so this and that. She want a baller. She want a baller. She's dealt with ballers. She's dealt with you know Pookies and Ray Rays, businessmen or high value man or whatever the case may be. And these are the black men she's talking about, guys. She ain't talking about no black man who works at, I don't know, maybe Walmart and he's a manager there. She ain't talking about him. She's talking about the football player or the basketball player or the rapper or the big businessman who's on vacation. She's talking about that guy who she thinks because she's able to have sex with. She's talking about that guy. I need y'all to understand how black women look at black men today. Okay? She disrespected her father in the name of explaining black female nature in the dating market. I didn't make it up, guys. I didn't make it up.
That's true. But I also think that there are some larger issues that affect the Black community, specifically men, that makes marriage sometimes hard for the educated Black woman.
What type of issues that black women need to take issue with or work out about themselves?
Well, I'll give myself an example. For instance, my father is a very educated man. Various degrees, the whole nine. And so I always had in my mind that I was going to marry someone just like him. And education is important. I believe in being educated, but the person doesn't have to exactly match who your father is. They can have some traits of your father, but they don't exactly have to match. So I took that into account, and not to say that I settled because some would see it as that, but to say that there are more things that make a man other than having 10 degrees, because you can have an educated fool, as I've encountered many times.
I work with a lot of men and around the world, really. And a lot of black men tell me that they would not marry educated attitudes. And when they become
This bitch is very disrespectful. Very. This bitch is disrespectful. Guys, need y'all to understand. Stop pandering to these women because they're pretty or they talk nice and all. This bitch is very disrespectful.
black woman because black women already have attitude.
That I settled because some would see it as that, but to say that there are more things that make a man other than having 10 degrees, because you can have an educated fool, as I've encountered many times.
I work with a lot of men and around the world, really. And a lot of black men tell me that they would not marry an educated black woman because black women already have attitudes. And when they become educated, they're
Is not an attitude. And some people confuse having standards with having an attitude. I think everyone should have standards. And so, I can understand, and to be fair, there are some people who have attitudes, right? Black men and black women. But I think if you have standards of fidelity, you have standards of uh reaching your potential. I don't know if that qualifies as having an attitude. And I think sometimes people misconstrue having standards as having an attitude.
are you saying that most, not all, not all?
You know what? Some black women have attitudes, but some people have attitudes.
She's talking out her ass
I
right now.
think, just bring it back to me personally. I think sometimes when you feel insecure about certain attitude, like for instance, The fact that Black men have been so adversely affected by societal issues that it puts Black women sometimes in a position that they really search for a partner suitable for them, and so that can cause you to have an attitude on some days.
So are you saying that most
Wait a second, guys. Wait a second. What in the fuck did she just break down? So the fact that black, let me let her talk again, guys. Let me let her talk again. Because I don't want to be Mr. OKL and I don't want to be, the enemy to y'all. I want y'all to hear it from their mouth and understand why I'm Mr. OKL and I talk about it. Let me let her say what she just said again. One more time.
That they would rather not. I think sometimes when you feel insecure about certain things that you can't control, in some cases that can force you to have an attitude. Like for instance, the fact that Black men have been so adversely affected by societal issues that it puts Black women sometimes in a position that they would rather not be in, and that is feeling like they have to really search for a partner suitable for them, and so that can cause you to have an attitude on some days.
so are you saying that most
So, black man, let me translate the womanese. She says because of societal issues, which is the racism card they always pull. She's saying that because of what you're going through, what you went through, that's why they have to be strong and independent and 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 explore who the fuck they need to deal with. I ain't breaking this down. Like that little small shit, I'm not gonna break that down. I need y'all to understand this. I'm not gonna break it down because it should be obvious to you to see that this is rhetoric. It's not a it's not our fault as men that you want to do what you do, explore your options, have your whole phase, etc., etc. Blame men because you had a whole phase. Blame men because you don't know who you want to choose, etc. It's not our fault you do that. You do that because you want to do it. Why does it have to always come back to the man? I do know why. Because a strong man holds himself accountable and he holds the world accountable. But at the same time, we cannot let these harlots speak for us. Don't give a fuck about her Nike jacket and her pink jacket and the fact that she got, it looked like she got natural hair and she's doing what she looks slim or whatever. That's not 50% of what you need to do as a feminine woman. We need to realize that these Jezebels come in all types of forms. Cut the bullshit, please.
That they would rather not be in, and that is feeling like they have to really search for a partner suitable for them, and so can that can cause
most Black women don't have attitudes?
Reverend Peterson, I can't say most about anything. I would say of my friends, some of us do have attitudes, but all of us don't.
I
And I
should I suggest that I just suggest that men, period, don't marry women,
serious?
right? Because they don't make for good wives and mothers.
Really? Okay, why do you say
Because of the order of God, God and Christ, God over Christ, Christ over man over woman, woman over children. And when you marry an educated woman, she feels that she is God and she's not going to want to operate in her proper role. And men get married because they want a family, they want that order. But educated women, and especially black women, will not
You just to be completely transparent. My husband has said to me, you are like a wild horse. At some point I'm gonna tame you. So and I think when you have lived on your own for years,
yes.
I do think it's harder for you to be in a submissive, type of relationship. And but that can be learned, because I do feel in a marriage that the husband is the head. And I do think there has to be a leader of the home. And my husband.
That is where you fuck up at. Mutual submission. All right. You don't go to your job, submit to your boss, and expect him to submit to you. What the fuck will happen when you do that? He's going to fire you and find somebody else who submits to him. What do you mean mutual submission? It don't work like that. And this is what is killing the black family. Black women are not used uh, today, um, at least, they're not used to submitting to black men. So they're spewing out rhetoric not only to themselves when they drink their wine and they bubble bath by themselves. So when they with their homegirls, while they eating each other out and scissoring each other, like not only when they are doing it, they know they understand that ain't no such thing as no mutual submission. You have to submit to a man to get a conducive relationship. Ladies, stop bashing men. Stop making it seem like you have to deal with a top 20 percentile man. Understand human nature. It is in your nature to submit to a man or the man that you want to deal with. Hypergamy is of Lucifer, always looking for the next best thing. Stop that. The best thing that can happen to you is you find a man or a man finds you, which is most likely the best thing, puts seeds in you, you carry his children, and you guys create memories off of that. Why don't y'all think that's more important than a hot girl summer? How come y'all don't think that's more important than hanging out with your homegirls? Why don't you think that's more conducive than having an abortion because you want to continue to be hypergamous, quote, and find the quote right guy to have a baby with, which you don't have one with because you got two baby daddies that you call ain't. I don't need to talk too much. I don't have to go too deep. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
And but that can be learned, because I do feel in a marriage the wife should submit to the husband. I think it's mutual submission, but I do think there has to be a leader of the home. And my husband is the leader. Now I give him some flack. I do, but I think I push him to be better. I know.
uh, and so your wife, I mean, your husband is the head of you?
He is. It's a learning process. We've only been married now for 6 years. And I'm learning. It's a process, and I take a lot of lessons from my mother. My parents have been married for over.
Do you hear what this lady? Oh, we've only been married for only 6 years. So 6 years, it's a learning. Are you kidding? She she probably submits to him. Probably, probably not. Who knows? But you've been with this man for 6 years, and you still don't know that he's the head of you. It's a process. Let's listen to this, guys. We got a lot more to break down.
Husband is the head of you.
He is. It's a learning process. We've only been married now for, it's a process. And I take a lot of lessons from my mother. My parents have been married for over 40 years. And so I talk with my mother and I watch other women and and I try to emulate what I think would make a happy marriage and a happy home. No, I don't.
Uh, and would you suggest you and your husband have kids before you fall in that order, or should he?
No children been together for 6 years. Notice how she says she's listened to her mother, she listens to outsiders, or she looks at other relationships, which is to say, when women say that, they listen to they fucking thought homegirls or they, female friends. Not one time did she say she learned from her husband. I, oh man, what do y'all think, guys? Y'all let me know what y'all think. Husband probably ain't the. He's probably she settled for.
And I try to emulate what I think would make a happy marriage and a happy home.
Do you have kids?
No, I don't.
Uh, and would you suggest you and your husband have kids before you fall in that order, or should he wait until you submit to him and obey him?
Okay, obey is a strong word. Submit, but obey is a whole other issue. That's a whole other level to me. The answer to your question is I don't think I have to wait, to have children before I, get myself in line. If that, no, I think my mother is a very strong-willed woman, right?
Yeah.
Very strong-willed. But she submits to my father and is an excellent wife and mother and has been for years. So I think I have a good example of being strong-willed and at the same time knowing my position, if that makes sense.
Okay. And so you don't like the word obey. Why don't you like that word?
It just makes me think of slave and slave master. I can't, I can't be down. That to me makes me feel like I don't have a mind. But I will say this because my husband and I are
Before you say what you got to say, we already broke down the definition of obey. She don't, ladies, obeying don't necessarily mean. Do you want your child to obey you, ma'am? Let me ask you that question. If you bring home snacks and you tell your child, don't eat these snacks until I tell you you could. It's Monday. I want to see how you doing in school. I want to make sure you're doing your chores, etc. On Friday, I'm gonna calculate all that, and if you obey me, then you can get them snacks. How come? Is that slavery, ma'am? No, it's not. See, black women don't obey black men. They don't want to. You see how she quickly turned it into slavery? Even dogs ain't slaves. And when we have dogs as men, we put them in cages, we put them on leashes and all. But guess what we do? We feed them. We make sure we take care of them, and they only go in cages and on leashes because of their nature. We ain't gonna put no woman in no cage and no leash. But she wants you to think that. That's why whenever you break down why a woman needs to obey a man or needs to submit to a man, whatever the case may be, they always try to bring it to a derogatory thing. It is not derogatory. It
but she submits to my father and is an excellent wife and mother and has been for years. So I think I have a good example of being strong and at the same time,
And so you don't like the word obey. Why don't you like that word?
it just makes me think of slave and slave master. I can't be down with the whatever you like. I'm not down with that. That to me makes me feel like I don't have a mind. But I will say this:
Strong.
as my husband, I trust that as a man that he's hearing from God, and I trust that I'm hearing from God as well. And I think God speaks to us according to our roles.
I noticed that most black men, not all, they're emotional. They act like the woman. How did that happen?
Well, I don't know if that's necessarily true. They act like their mother.
Yeah, they have anger, and every man that has anger is a woman. Why is it that so many men, especially the black community, act like their mothers and they're control?
My husband is not like that at all. My husband, our personalities work well together. I'm emotional and he's emotional, and
Your husband is emotional, emotional, but unnatural for a man. Well, how do you handle your husband being emotional?
well, he's not emotional where he's like tearing up on every occasion at everything. He's emotional in that he's passionate about his beliefs. We are very we both have passionate ideas. And so I like that. He's not bowing down to me. I'm not bowing down to him. We're equal in the sense of we both uh, have equal ideas.
Does he tell you his weaknesses? Does he tell you his problems? Or he just deal with that himself without letting you know?
He shares his problems and I share mine with him.
That's not good. A woman can't handle a man's problem. Do you agree with me that a man should never, ever, ever, ever tell a woman his weakness?
I think that would lead to dysfunction. I mean, you want a whole person.
Do anything about her own weaknesses. She need a man to help her to overcome. How can she handle a man's weakness when she can't handle her own?
Reverend, with all respect,
You
I
can
can
call me Jesse.
weaknesses.
Say what now?
I can handle my weaknesses, so I know all about my weaknesses,
Do
and
you know how to overcome your weaknesses?
I have learned. I've had, I've had weaknesses, and I think I can overcome them, and I think I am overcoming them in the name of God, in the name of Jesus. I am.
It would be like Jesus telling a human being his weaknesses, telling another man what a man tell a woman, because women are very judgmental. And as soon they'll say, "Oh, you don't tell me your problems. How was your day? You never tell me. You don't love me." And as soon as the man is like, "No, everything's fine. All is well. You don't love me. You never tell me, right?" And as soon as the man tells her, she judging for life. 50 years go by, she still remember it.
That's immature. I don't do that at all. I
But
mean,
most women do that, right?
I can't say most women do it. I know I don't do it because I look at men and women as people. Yes, we are male and female, but we're people.
But you agree that the man is over the woman, right?
Yes.
And
In the
so why would the head of the woman tell the weaker vessel about his problems? She can't handle them.
weaker in terms of physical strength, but not weaker in terms of mental strength.
No, that's not true. Women are very emotional, mentally. I mean, yeah, mentally and physically emotional. That's the whole purpose, is to bring her out of that hell she's in. But if he goes into the hell with her, it's just going to be hell in the home.
I'm not in hell. I'm not in hell at all.
Very, 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 very much agreed upon. 73 to 75% of the black community um, are raised by single mothers, and what they don't realize is that I don't care how much you black women think you're strong or you are competent or whatever it is. You cannot raise a child the way a man can, especially a young boy. The other day, um, I was dealing with one of my customers, and uh, she was trying to put her son in football, and we was having a back and forth, good conversation. And one of the things she said to me was, "Yeah, man, I instill in my son the firmness. Like I'm very firm with him, and I talk to him in a firm way, and I make sure I'm really affirm with him, and like most black women, they raise children by themselves, and they're okay with it. They think they call it strong, independent, et cetera, et cetera. They like to put the daddy on child support, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, well, he does need like a masculine role, and she's telling me like, no, 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 I put it in him already. You know, I'm a very affirming. Whatever goes down, this and that. Like, look, you see how when he took the groceries, I made him get all my groceries because that's masculine. He has to be, masculine. And he has to have a gentleman side and take it. They don't know how to raise men. They think that's what raised men. They will never understand how to raise a man. Okay, ladies, I want y'all to know this. If I didn't say something that was conducive, at least this would be something. Grab your notepad, grab your pen, screenshot, screen record what I'm about to say. Ladies, you cannot raise a man, a young boy, I'm sorry, to be a man. I don't care what you do. You cannot raise your son to be a man. Eventually, he's going to raise himself, or he needs a father to raise him. You cannot raise a boy to be a man, ladies. I don't care how much money you made. I don't care how affirmative you was in the workforce. I don't give a fuck. You can't do it. And that's coming from a man. Debate me.
To help her overcome that. That's the whole purpose, is to bring her out of that hell she's in. But if he goes into the hell with her, it's just going to be hell in the home.
I'm not in hell. I'm not in hell at all. I'm a strong-minded woman, and
There's no such thing as a strong woman. Weak men, but not strong women.
My husband is strong, and I'm strong, and so but we also have weaknesses. Nobody is all strength, and nobody is all weak.
I noticed that a lot of black men are married outside their race, as I mentioned earlier. They're marrying white women and they're Japanese and Chinese. Should a black man go outside of his race and marry another kind of woman?
If he desires, but a black woman can do the same thing.
Marry outside of a race?
Yeah, if that's what God ordained for you specifically. Now, if you only pursue people outside of your race, then there's an issue of your race. Then I have no problem with that.
It create a problem with the children though because they don't fit in. They don't know if they should fit in with the blacks or the whites. Children to identify with the whites.
I know I have some biracial friends, and I have heard about some difficulties with identifying. Same time, I think every child is going to have struggles, every person. So if it's not that, it'll be something else. Somebody's being teased for some other issue.
So if this struggle that the kids would never have to deal with, right? Why bring that on knowing that it's going to be a problem?
I think you have to look at that as an individual and weigh the cost of what you think could happen. I'm like I said, there are some people I know that have those issues, but there are some that don't.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Side.
yes, yes. Now you don't need to be a woman, but you should be in touch with your feminine side. It makes you a whole person.
When you say be in touch with it, what do you mean?
So, I mean, let's kind of connotate it. Should people smoke crack? And it's like saying, "Oh, yeah, you should that. Yeah, you can smoke crack, but that don't mean you should be a crackhead. But yeah, just smoke crack. No men shouldn't be in touch with a fucking feminine side, whatever the fuck that means. A male is a male. Female is a female. Females have genetic definitions: vagina, titties, um, bearing hips that to can bear children. How the fuck can a man be in touch with that? Shout out to Chris in the motherfucking building. Chris says, facts. I had to raise myself by watching and learning from other men's mistakes and successions. And that's how we build as men, okay? Men are not built with their innate. I'm not going to say innate, but men are not just built with the value that um, a top 20% of men have. So what we do have to do is we have to look. We're visual creatures. We have to look, see, like, and do. Whereas women, they just have to be. That's it. They just have to be. They're born with their value. They have a vagina. Multiple men want to have sex with it. And God added extra perks to it, which is called ass, titties, curves, attractiveness, a soft voice, etc., etc. You guys get what I'm saying? So, Chris, you called it right on out. Let me read this again. He says, once I realized that the powers that be wanted black women to be unsuitable for marriage, I immediately started searching for women who were willing to go against their educational programming. Point blank, period. It's a programming that, it's a program that black women think black men don't want to deal with them. We want to fuck with y'all. Black men pander to you guys. Okay? More than 80% of black men are married to black women. And there's a higher percentage that wants to be married to a black woman. But there's a plethora of us who understand what's going on. We have innate nature as males, and we go with what is conducive in our faces. Chris says it best. Love the comment. Love the comment. Okay.
I,
Uh, yeah.
so yeah.
Should should men be in touch with?
Yes. Now you don't need to be a woman, but you should be in touch with your feminine side. It makes you a whole person.
When you say be in touch with it, what do you mean?
When I say be in touch with your feelings, I mean to not be separated from your feelings. Some men think that they have to always keep it together. And they end up being crazy feelings.
I noticed that men that are in touch with their feelings.
Well, what I noticed is that no one said anything about feelings. The question was, should men be in touch with their feminine side? Oh, you understand that women deal only in their feelings or mainly in their feelings, which is to say that women are more emotional. So the main question here, guys, let me translate for y'all, is should men deal emotionally rather than logically, which is what we deal. We men are logical based. it's amazing, bro. It's just amazing how she brings this up. Let me bring Chris back on one more time. Chris says, but unfortunately, most black women are willing participants of the terrible social conditions of feminism and wake culture or woke culture. 100% correct. 100% correct. They feel like they're their own race. They feel like they can do what they want to do. The black man has no say in what they do. The black community has no say in what they do. As a matter of fact, they're trying to take control of the black community. That way, they don't need anyone to tell them anything. Why do you think we have Black Lives Matter? Lesbians running this shit. Why do you think we have affirmative actions? Most women are getting into college and getting into jobs based off affirmative action. Not just black people. Most this is a let me shut up. Let me shut up because that's a whole nother live. That's a whole nother live.
And they end up being crazy. To be
I noticed that men that are in touch with their feeling go crazy because it's those emotions that drive you crazy. But those men who overcome the emotion, which is the nature of their mothers, they are not crazy. They tend to be logical, independent men because they overcome the emotions because emotions drive you nuts.
Well, I think you should have command of your emotions, whether you're a woman or a man, because certain situations call for you to have command of your emotions. But at the same time, you have to be in touch with your emotions because otherwise, you would be going to see a therapist at some point.
I really need y'all to hear that one more time because this is what women do. All they do. You ever ask a woman a question and they be like, "Oh yeah and no." How can the question? How can it be yes and no? Listen to this and let me break it down for you guys.
Emotion that drive you crazy. But those men who overcome the emotion, which is the nature of their mothers, they are not crazy. They tend to be logical, independent men because they overcome the emotions because emotions drive you nuts.
Well, I think you should have command of your emotions, whether you're a woman or a man, because certain situations call for you to have command of your emotions. But at the same time, you have to be, otherwise, you would be going to see a
So the first thing she says is, be in touch with your emotion. Yo, I literally almost caught a brain fart listening to this lady. How do you agree with both sides of the spectrum? Yeah, you know, both men and women shouldn't just only deal with emotions. And I don't know why she keeps bringing men and women in this. This is something that feminists like to do, like to compare men and women all the time. All he asked about was the fact that should men deal with emotions. So she's saying men no, men shouldn't deal with their emotions. She tries to bring women in it, and then she ends it off by connotating it with at the same time you should deal with your emotions. Let me translate the womanese, guys. I'm gonna run it back. What she basically said was this: you know what? Don't deal with your emotions, but at the same times, you should deal with your emotions. I'm gonna leave y'all with that mental brain fart while I run it back for y'all.
Feeling go crazy because it's those emotions that drive you crazy. But those men who overcome the emotion, which is the nature of their mothers, they are not crazy. They tend to be logical, independent men because emotions drive you nuts.
Well, I think you should have command of your emotions, whether you're a woman or a man, because certain situations certain situations call for you to help with your emotions because otherwise you would be going to see a therapist at some point. You know,
What is racial reconciliation?
okay. Racial reconciliation, that's to me, it's when different races come together despite the things that have brought us apart.
Why do most black people hate white people so much and white people have nothing to do with their issues? But the blacks blame them. Why is that?
Why do black people hate white people?
Yeah, most black people hate white people and they're always crying racism, they're always crying slavery. And most black people know nothing about slavery. They know nothing about Jim Crow. And they're failing in life and they're blaming the whites for it. Why is that?
Well, for me, I don't hate white people.
Right. That's why I said most, not all, but most.
So number one, I don't hate white people, but I understand. And my family, we're first generation American.
Uh huh.
I'm a first generation American, um, and so I've heard stories. With my parents growing up in a predominantly black society, they came in as outsiders to the American experience,
Where did they come from?
Jamaica.
Oh, okay.
So they have been able to see things that maybe some Black Americans would not see.
I'm gonna push back on her on that. My peoples come from Haiti, and you black women are ignorant across the board. I don't give a fuck that your parents came from Jamaica. Look how you think. You have traditional parents. Your mom is submissive to your father. She said it in the beginning. She said it before. Yet she still is in a relationship or a marriage with somebody for 6 years, and she's not even sure was that is not the traditional black way. It is not. I hate the fact that these these women who came from traditional backgrounds, which is to say that maybe your mom was Jamaican, dad was Jamaican, and they moved here. Like I can say myself, the reason why I'm here is because my auntie came on a boat and she fucking brought my father here, and my father, brought my mother here, and that's why I'm here. What the fuck do I look like degrading all that? What the fuck do I look like trying to praise that and be like, yo, that's what that's the struggle I went through. And then next thing you know, when I deal with a woman who possibly had to, you know, come up under me or go through a struggle, I say, oh, it's just, the society's not helping her, so I can't fuck with her, even though my parents. It, it, this girl, I don't like her. I'm not gonna lie to you. I do not like this woman. I don't care if she got the pink Nike suit on. I don't care if she's slim. Don't care if she seems like, pretty or whatever. These are the modern day harlots that you guys have to make sure you pay attention to. Shout out to my boy IRTS TV. He says, "What up, my boy? What's going on, brother? What's going on?" And at this point, I do want to uh, make this an open panel. So anybody who wants to join, the panel is open for you guys. Come on in. But let's continue breaking this shit down.
They came in as outsiders to the American experience,
Where did they come from?
Jamaica.
Oh, okay.
So they have been able to see things that maybe some Black Americans.
And by the way, guys, the women, these young, harlots that came, that were birthed by these ladies and men that came from Jamaica and different countries. They some of the biggest hoes that you ever seen. Some of the biggest, dumbest hoes that you ever seen. Don't let them fucking fool you, okay? Some of the biggest hoes that you ever seen. You don't know it because they come here looking for opportunity, but women and opportunity in America and the Western world equals promiscuity. No pun intended. I hope y'all that didn't go over your head. All right, Chris says, I guarantee you she'll never come at a Jamaican man with that fake. Exactly, bruh. With that fake woke nonsense. Exactly, Chris. Guaranteed. She not her mama who locked in with a Jamaican man and submitted to him because she said she's not obedient, but don't even understand that obedience has submission in its definition. So if you are, and she says she's submissive. So if you is submissive, then that means you oh. Ladies, take notes and beta males. Take a chill pill. I know you mad.
Society. They came in as outsiders to the American experience,
Where did they come from?
Jamaica.
Oh, okay.
So they have been able to see things that maybe some Black Americans would not see. But, and I guess I'm saying that to say that in spite of all of the history that this country has had, a lot of good has come to my parents because of their relationships with white people.
Right.
So, but on the other hand, uh, you know, you don't have to look very far back to see how slavery and things and racism.
Why do they keep playing? Let me run it back for you guys because she keep talking in hula hoops. She keep tying knots with everything she's saying. I need to run it back so we can break it down together here, guys. Because she's not making sense. Guys, she's not. Somebody let me know how she is not. Let me put the listen, dog. Let me copy the link. Somebody come in the on the panel before we conclude and let me know what the fuck this lady's talking about. She is not making sense.
Have nothing to do with their issues, but the blacks blame them. Why is that?
Why do Black people hate white people?
Yeah, most black people hate white people, and they're always crying racism. They're always crying slavery, and most black people know nothing about slavery. They know nothing about Jim Crow, and they're failing in life, and they're blaming the whites for it. Why is that?
Well, for me, I don't hate white people.
Right. That's why I said most, not all, but most.
So number one, I don't hate white people, but I understand. And my family, we're first generation American.
Uh huh.
I'm a first generation American, and so I've heard stories. With my parents growing up in a predominantly Black society, they came in as outsiders to the American experience,
Where did they come from?
Jamaica.
Oh, okay.
So they have been able to see things that maybe some Black Americans would not see. But, and I guess I'm saying that to say that in spite of all of the history that this country has had, a lot of good has come to my parents because of their relationships with white people.
Right.
So,
So okay, basically, like all that crap she was saying, she just basically summed it up to she came here um by way of her parents who were first generation Americans. They gave her that opportunity. Her experience was the fact that white folks were good. They were decent people. But guess what she's gonna do, guys? She's gonna do what most black people do, weak black people do, most black women do. She's gonna try to use the experience of her past people who didn't even experience most of the lies that today we try to victimize ourselves. She's going to try to use that to justify her argument. Again, like I said, white people helped her folks. America helped her folks. First generation citizens. Her mom and her dad were together. Her mom was submissive to her dad, but she finds every single way to run away from why they just don't like as far as black women, she tries her best to run away from a traditional conservative person. Okay? No cap. I'm not lying to y'all. Chris ain't lying to y'all either when he says the beta makes or the beta males are copying whatever emotions they see the woman display 100%. That's why women love beta males. They love hearing these weak niggas coddle to them, but they will never smash them. They love that. So let me read that one more time. The beta male makes or males are copying whatever emotions they see the woman display. They think that they win. Again, he says, so if the women are happy, the beta males are happy. If the women are angry, the beta males are angry. Great point. That's why they tell you you're a man. I did an interview with a beta male, and he called me a misogynist based off of a point that women try to make when they get angry. I said men and women are not equal. I didn't say that men are better. I didn't say women are better. I just say we're not equal. How do I know that? Women get pregnant. Do men get pregnant? No. Women have vaginas. Do men have vaginas? No. Men have testosterone levels way higher than women. Is that a fact? Yes. That's all I was saying. And guess what? He called me a misogynist because it was based off of a woman's anger. Chris, your talking points are great, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate your comments.
And I guess I'm saying that to say that in spite of all of the history that this country has had, a lot of good has come to my parents because of their relationships with white people.
Right.
So, but on the other hand, uh, you know, you don't have to look very far back to see how slavery and things and racism has affected the average black person in this country. So I
I need y'all to tell me right now. Somebody tell me right now, how is slavery affecting the average black person in this country? How? Tell me. Because I could have somebody tell me. How is what people went through hundreds of years ago, which was a lot of fabrication, how in the fuck does that affect you today? I could tell you as a black man, I almost I could have died at the hands of a black man, had nothing to do with slavery. I've been robbed by a black man, had nothing to do with slavery. I've been fucked over by black people, had nothing to do with slavery. The least of my goddamn problems are white folks. These people want to tap into your emotions, want you to be a man or somebody who is emotion based so they can tap into it and make you feel like white people are just your biggest problem. I know what my biggest problem is. If it's me, I'm gonna deal with that. If it's other people and they happen to be black, I'm gonna deal with that. But one thing I'm not gonna do is I'm not gonna go look in the history book or go on Google and look at somebody in 1920 or 18 something and be like, you know what? That person went through that. I'm going to make myself a victim of that. I'm not doing that. I refuse to.
you don't have to look very far back to see how slavery and things and racism has affected the average black person in this country. So I can understand having some feelings, some uncomfortable feelings, maybe even leading to hate in some situations, depending on what has happened in your particular life.
I grew up on a plantation. I was born there in Alabama and under the Jim Crow laws, and none of that stuff affected me or any of my family members. How come it skipped over blacks during the Jim Crow era, and then the blacks after that are so affected by it, but the blacks who grew up under that during those laws had no problem with it?
I think you're making a blanket statement because I know
That is disingenuous. That man is 60 years old. He just told you he grew up. Like, look up Jesse Lee Peterson. This is why I did this video. This young lady is not even 40 years old yet. and she thinks she knows better than him by telling him that's a blanket statement. Back then, when black folk were under Jim Crow, whatever the case may be, they used to we got married at an 80% rate. We got married in churches without government daddy. Black women didn't choose welfare. Black men and black women got along better. They strived better. They did things better. They bought land. They were more conservative. They dressed better. As a matter of fact, you can look at your latest person from the 70s beyond and look at how they dressed. That came from the tradition of black folk. We lived better. Why do we then take that victimization in a better state and say, "Oh no, it's a blanket statement"? No, back then, how the heck you gonna tell this man who lived in that's a blanket statement? Guys, I want y'all to know something. Back in the 60s, 50s, 40s, 30s, and 20s, when they were busy putting newspapers up and putting broadcasts up, letting y'all know that black men were being hanged and all that, they forgot to tell you that we had higher uh, um, education rates as black men. Black men, unemployment was falling and employment was rising. Black entrepreneurship in men was rising. So there was record breaking entrepreneurs that were growing in the black community. They don't want to tell you that. All they want to tell you is, oh, you know, um, the white man did this and the white man did that. Today, the black man kills each other on a daily basis. I lost plenty homies in the hood. I done seen plenty things going. Oh, but we don't talk about that. How come we don't talk about that? But we want to connotate something that happened hundreds of years ago. Get that shit the fuck out of my goddamn face. Get it out of my face. Black people, folks, people, period. We need to fucking wake up and stop being victims. You be a victim if you want to. I'm not gonna be that.
How come it skipped over blacks during the Jim Crow era, and then the blacks after that are so affected by it, but the blacks who grew up under that during those laws had no problem with it?
I think you're making a blanket statement because I know black people who did grow up under Jim Crow that have issues. So I think you're making, if that's not true for you, that's fine. But I know that there are a lot of black people that have had a different experience.
Jacqueline, tell folks how to get your book.
Well, you can get Destination Wedding, and let me show you the book right here. You can get Destination Wedding on any of your online retailers, Amazon.
Believe me, man, we're not gonna get it. We don't want to see it. We're good. We're good. Let's let her display. We not. We don't want it. All right. We know what you're about. We don't want it.
Barnes and Noble, Books a Million, all of the various websites, Target.
Amazing. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Reverend.
I wish you well with the book.
Thank you.
All right. 888-775-3773. That was Jacqueline Holness. And the book is Destiny.
I hope y'all know that he was being very sarcastic about that book. But guys, oh my God, man, like I need y'all to understand one thing. If y'all don't understand something, the black man, of course, in the Western society, but in the world, we have to realize that we are not appreciated, we are not loved, we are not respected the way we should be. Okay? You can a Mexican can come from Mexico, with his wife. And guess what she's gonna do? Bear 7, 8 children from him. They're gonna be 8, 9 deep in a Toyota Camry, and after 10 years or 5 years, now uh, that Mexican has a fucking company that he can support his family with. Jewish communities circulate the dollar 5 to 7 times. Chinese communities circulate their dollars. They marry each other. They understand traditional values. When you look at your average black woman today, she doesn't look like a black woman. She looks like a portrayal of another race. Becky wig on, straightening her hair with the fucking bullshit wig. Uh, bullcrap eyelashes that look like bushes. Um, Wolverine claws that look like Shanae didn't think. I thought Shanae was a joke. Black woman. I guess you guys took it serious. You guys have the Shanae nails more than fucking 4 or 5 inches. We hate it. We hate it. Let us tell it, and we are the bad guys. We are the bad guys. I reacted to this video because I wanted you guys to see what your conservative, quote unquote, black woman thinks about even the black man. I don't care if the black woman is in college, she's a OnlyFans girl, she's family oriented, she's a thought, young, old, all of them. I ain't gonna say all, but most of them, at least 89 to 99% of them, think the same way today. And at least 80% of them act on how they think. They don't think conducive for the black community, children, and the black man. They only think for themselves. I need you, black men and black women, to understand this so that we can at least find a minority of conducive people that are going to be progenitors of what we need to see today, which is to say that we need villages. We need to get back on ball. We need to get back on our shit. You heard me? 75% of black children are born out of wedlock under black women. That's to say that most of our children are being raised by black women and or not being raised by anyone at all, because a lot of these black women are not raising these children. They're not. They are not. Speaking of what I said, let me read some of these comments. Chris is saying, why do black women still want to be a part of the white woman's feminist movement and LGBTQ woke culture? Good question. Let me tell you why. It's because it benefits them and it doesn't benefit the black man or the black child. They're not willing to sacrifice that so that it benefits everything. They don't care about the village, they only care about themselves. Black women think that they're only their own race. So if it's not conducive for them, it's not conducive for anyone. So this leftist, LGBTQ, Marxist, um, government daddy mind state that these black women have taken on ever since the late 60s, some of the early 60s, and no, the early 60s and the late 70s, that mind state that they took on when they said, yes, government daddy, let me get your welfare. Yes, government. Oh, you don't want us to be in the house with the black man, and you're gonna give us, all right, we'll get out the house and we're gonna go to your project Section 8 houses. Yes, we'll do that. That's what they did. And guess what that did for them? It created a strong, quote unquote strong, independent mind state where if they don't sell their cat, or if they don't take advantage of men or the world that men built for them to be strong and independent and do their own thing, then they're going to take advantage of the poverty mind state, which is to say that they're going to put their baby daddy on child support. They're going to get abortions. They're going to live in Section 8. They're going to get the food stamps. They're going to take advantage of welfare. They don't want to give it up, Chris. That's why. That's why, okay? Also says black women are so full of shit. Yeah, they're full of shit, but let them tell you they are goddesses and queens, and they are, without them there's no existence. Also says black women are no, my bad. He also says facts. I've heard black women say that they're a woman first and black last. Disrespectful. Like, and that goes against what they try to preach because they're not women first. They are not even women first. They are black women first. They are black queen first. Strong and independent. That's what they are first. They think they are separate from every other race, including the black man. That's what they think. Okay. Not all, not all, not all, but most. So again, guys, catch the playback if you didn't peep the whole video, man. I'm here to spread this message. I'm a young man who's went through things. I'm here to let you guys know that I'm an advocate for men and the things that women are doing today, you know, it's not only their fault, but it's the fault of weak men as well because you guys give them a platform, you guys give them a pedestal, you guys give them the reason why they feel they can speak the way they can. Strong men, the patriarch, STEM jobs, which is to say science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, um, power lines, etc., etc. These men are not the weak men who gave these women the the power to shun men. STEM guys, men who built the world, made it comfortable for these women to at least experience these weak men. STEM guys made it comfortable for beta males to experience these women as well. Without a science, technology, engineering, or a mathematical man, you wouldn't have your fucking gamer playing video games, paying for OnlyFans, sending money to women for foot pictures and all that shit. Let's get into it, guys. I don't talk about the problem without the solution. And the solution to this problem is you guys stop pandering to these women and stop being so weak. But at the same time, we are living in a society where weak people are born and comfortable. These weak people are comprised of women at a high rate and beta males. Women and beta males. Okay? This ain't a bash video. This ain't a hate video. This ain't a video. You know what, dog? Let me give y'all a bonus, okay? Let me give y'all a bonus. I want y'all to peep the language in this interview that I did with this black woman, okay? I'm gonna give y'all a bonus. I wanted to do this breakdown later, but I'm gonna do it now. Black men are trying to get black women to reciprocate energies, and you guys don't want to do so. And what that's doing is it's actually bringing about a combative um, oppo- opposite nature to a black man. I want y'all to see a simplistic reason why we can't stand y'all attitude and crap. Okay? I did an interview with this black woman, guys. This is Mr. OKL, and I bring the proof with the truth. Shout out to my brother, Mr. Goodbread. It's called uncooperative, disrespectful black women have issues answering simple questions, and it speaks to their nature. Okay, Chris, you a VIP man. I like your comments. Chris says you remember the Vanishing Black Family documentary, right? Of course I do. Of course I do. With the young 17-year-olds holding black children, talking about they can do it on their own. They was like, yo, I'm signing. They at the welfare office waiting for their checks, dealing with deadbeat black men that they know ain't conducive. When a black woman tells herself she could do it by herself, she also tells herself she's ready for a deadbeat black man as well. He also says, black women purposefully produce weak black men so that our people can be at a disadvantage that we're at now. This is 100% her fault. I'm not going to say 100%. I'm going to say 99.3%. Let's say that because I'm going to give some of the black men some credit for that too. But I see what you say because they are the ones that raised these weak black men. Chris, I got you. Great talking point. But I want y'all to hear the language, okay? Listen to how sophisticated I'm speaking to her, respectful I'm talking to her, but she still has to be combative in her nature. We can't speak to these females in a way that they ask us to. That being said, I'm going to let it play out and we'll be right back, guys. How, if you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
I just turned 26 on Sunday.
26, okay, nice. Out the bottle with it, dang.
I can't drink water out the bottle.
Oh shit. My bad. I thought that was something else. I'm sorry, sweetie.
I like it. I like it. So you be streaming, obviously. I'm gonna hit you with
And I do want your perspective. You're an attractive woman, so that's a good thing. Um, now I wanna ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
If we were to put men and women on the scale, right, and weigh out the detriment, men and women in relationships, marriages, legacies, who would have more of the weight, men or women, and you cannot choose both?
More of the Dutch. Mm-hmm.
Wrecking homes, you know. Now, before you guys listen to what she says, black women don't have a problem saying that black men ain't shit. Black men need to step up. They make music like I don't want no scrub, or scrub is a guy that can't get no love from me. They make songs like who runs the world, girls. They don't have an issue shitting on you and treating you like you under a bum's foot. They don't have a problem treating you like that, but let you try to hold them accountable. This is their reaction.
More of the Dutch. Mm-hmm.
Wrecking homes, shit like that. Who would you put it on more, men or women? You can't say both.
And I feel like this type of narrative and rhetoric is what pits men and women against each other.
Her response to that question was, and I feel like this rhetoric, which was disrespectful, by the way, is what pits men and women together. I like, what are you talking about? That's what I mean, guys. These ladies don't want to hold themselves accountable, mostly black women, and they want to blame everything else outside of themselves. Black woman, I'm here to tell you this today. Go get your screen recorder. Go get your notepad. Go. I don't give a fuck what you getting, just so you can get this instilled in your mind. I need you to know this. You are one of the biggest detriments in the black community right now. You ladies are s- uh, um, causing more than 55 to 60% of the detriment in the black community, and you need to own it at some point. We're tired of it. Stop fucking pointing fingers everywhere else instead of saying, I'm gonna look at the fucking person in the mirror and get rid of the demons. Stop it, ladies. Stop it. God damn it.
More of the Dutch.
Wrecking homes, shit like that. Who would you put it on more, men or women? You can't say both.
And I feel like this type of narrative and rhetoric is what pits men and women against each other and make us. I feel like that I don't know.
No.
Narrative.
So you feel like, so what you're saying? So what you're trying to say? You feel like my question is rhetoric?
Wait, everything that we say, this is rhetoric. Speaking is rhetoric. The narrative, controlling the narrative, the dialect
Stop
that we're
trying to
having back and forth with
manipulate.
each other, the
Stop it. Stop
conversation.
it.
Right. That's all it is. That's all it is conversation.
Right, but you're saying all it is conversation. Conversation rule the nation. Conversation becomes media. Conversation is influence. Us being on this stream in front of these people.
1 Timothy chapter 2 and 12. I suffer a woman not to teach. Do you see what she's doing here, guys? I didn't even have to open my mouth that much. I'm just looking at her, observing her. She shitted, and now she's trying to make her shit look like a vegan sandwich, like it's healthy for you. Conversation rules the nation. Yeah, but rhetoric, this and that. Da, da, da. No, let it be known that you're not trying to have a conducive conversation. You don't want to hold yourself accountable. Even though I didn't shun women, all I asked was who holds more detriment. Percentages don't lie. 80% of women dealing with 20% of men. 75% of black women um, or black children are born under wedlock under black women. We are living in a matriarchal system in the black community. Why are you ladies not taking control or not holding yourselves accountable? Like, if you guys are controlling it and if you guys claim you're the queen mother goddesses, why not take that stance as your queenness? There's problems in the community. Fix it. Oh, you can't fix it because you are the problem. Make sense, guys?
Right, but you're saying all it is conversation. Conversation rule the nation. Conversation becomes media. Conversation is influence. Us being on this stream in front of these people, in front of all these people, and the people that we're around, like this, the narrative that we're putting out there. Also, too, I feel like that was causes a lot of time men and women to be pitted against one another. Also, a lot of blame to be placed on one another when it's not about blame.
Sister,
when we all need to heal.
I just asked you a question. That's all. I just asked you a question.
I know, and I'm answering. You
actually didn't answer. You said I said rhetoric, and then you started saying it's going to pin each other against each other. I just asked you a simple question. I have a show I stream. Look, I mean, it might be it might be a complicated.
Women,
it might be a complicated question. I understand that, but it's not rhetoric, sister. I have a show, and I just wanted to ask your perspective. That's all.
Well, I'm gonna, like I said women.
So you would say women would cause more of the detriment?
Okay, that's what I said.
Well, why would
she did all that just to speak the truth? Women are causing more detriment, but notice the attitude and the frustration I had. Like, how long it took me 2 minutes, and I'm gonna take away 40 seconds. It took me 2 minutes just for her to tell the truth. And guys, I'm gonna say it on OK Let's Talk TV. Black women you guys are the biggest problem in the black community, numbers wise, experience wise. Okay, you guys are the biggest problems. Okay.
Well, I'm gonna, like I said women. So
you would say women would cause more of the detriment?
Okay, that's what I said.
Well, why would you say that? Can you elaborate on that?
I feel like sometimes, and this is not all the time by any means,
Okay.
that men can be more logical in situations and women can act more off of their emotions. But honestly, I see a lot of men act off of their emotions too. Like,
You read about that.
so it could be, I don't know, a double-edged.
You just gotta tell the truth, but you gotta throw men in there. Why is it that women always have to find a way to blame a man for some type of detriment that they have to explain? Why? Whole stage. Oh, men ain't this, men ain't that. Um, how come women are not traditional today? Society and men, this and that. Oh, okay, what's going on? Why you ain't find the right guy? Or like ladies always have a way to blame men, and the black woman has a huge way to blame all black men. What's up with that, lady? Like, what? Talk to me about that. I need. It's okay. Let's talk to you. Let me know why y'all keep blaming me, because I haven't done anything to y'all, and I happen to be a black man.
This is not all the time by any means.
Okay.
That men can be more logical in situations and women can.
Let's read this comment from Chris. He says, black men are constantly accepting responsibility for why things are messed up the way the way that they are. It is the black woman who isn't willing to take any responsibility for anything. She's scapegoating black men so that she doesn't have to deal with any of her own toxic issues. Of course, and the way she deals with it, I'm sorry, Chris, is by, okay, I'm toxic. I've done. I'm just gonna throw all this at the men. That's why it's so easy for them to be so dysfunctional, evil, uh, um, um, disingenuous, blaming towards men, because all that is a bubble of their toxicity and them not dealing with it. Michael Jackson said it best. I'm looking at the man in the mirror. Men know how to do that. Weak men don't know how to do that, but even weak men become stronger when they do that. Ladies look themselves in the mirror, they cry, and guess what they do? They compress that shame that they got, and they just go to blaming men. A woman will literally suck another penis. I just did a live yesterday. They will suck another penis and blame the man why they sucked the other penis. I wasn't feeling, you weren't doing this, you weren't, like, they always blame men instead of holding themselves accountable for stuff in all aspects.
Okay, that's what I said.
Well, why would you say that? Can you elaborate on that?
I feel like sometimes, and this is not all the time by any means,
Okay.
that men can be more logical in situations and women can act more off of their emotions. But honestly, I see a lot of men act off of their emotions too. Like,
You read about that.
so it could be, I don't know, a double-edged sword in that sense. But sometimes just maybe in some situations maybe more irrational, or I don't know. It's a lot to it.
I got you.
Now, for my psychologist, listen to her language. She says, first she tells the truth and says, women. Then she goes into the rhetoric and the manipulation. But in some cases, men can be emotional. And then she goes to say it's a double edged sword. And then she goes to say blah, 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 this and that. And then she ends the conversation by saying, I don't know. This is what you call a manipulator, guys. Most black women, a lot of women, but I'm a black man and I was speaking on most black women are manipulators. Even your mama, even your auntie. And I don't care if you think I'm disrespectful. I don't care if the beta male in you think I'm being disrespectful. Your mama is a manipulator, whoa. Your old lady, your girlfriend, your cousin, all them black motherfucking folks that you care about that happen to be women are manipulators. And if not all of them, at least 9 out of 10 are 9 out of 10 of them, at least 90% of them are manipulators. All right. Stop playing the game. Stop playing the game. I'm here to expose it. And this is live in effect. This is Mr. OKL talking to a black woman. Listen to how manipulative this black woman gets. So, and I didn't even have to say that much, guys. I didn't even have to say that much.
For their emotions, but honestly, I see a lot of men act off of their emotions too. Like,
You read about it.
so it could be, I don't know, a double-edged sword in that sense. But sometimes just maybe in some situations maybe more irrational, or I don't know. It's a lot to it.
I got you.
Like,
What
I
was
can't
wrong?
say it like
What was
mostly,
so hard
but
about that? What was that
I never said
rhetoric?
that it was hard, but I feel like you just because I wasn't directly answering the question that you put out there, you had a perspective that I was making it hard, but I was just adding more.
I mean, just to keep it honest, guys, chat. If you ask someone a simple question, you guys didn't hear me talk that much in this. If you ask someone a simple question and they don't answer it, but they're talking and talking and talking and you didn't get the answer yet. And if let's say you did get the answer, but you got it maybe like fucking a minute or 3 minutes and 45 seconds later, wouldn't you claim wouldn't you assess that that's difficult? Listen to the mental gymnastics that you got to go through with these black folks
Or
that we call black women, okay? And then she tried to make me seem like I'm the one that painted the picture. I felt like you came from a perspective, this and that. I just wanted you to answer the goddamn question, lady. Guys, I know you go through this all day and all night when you come home from work or when you're dealing with a girl, your wife, and this and that. You go through the same shit, and I'm here to tell you, stop going through that. And if you're stuck in it, I feel sorry for you.
sometimes, and this is not all the time by any means,
Okay.
that men can be more logical in situations and women can act more off of their emotions. But honestly, I see a lot of men act off of their emotions too. Like,
You read about it.
so it could be, I don't know, a double-edged sword in that sense. But sometimes just maybe in some situations maybe more irrational, or I don't know. It's a lot to it.
I got you.
Like, I
What was
can't
wrong?
say it like
What was
mostly,
so hard
but
about that? What was that
I never
rhetoric?
said that it was hard, but I feel like you
Chris, let me talk about what you said. He says, why do you think black women can't date outside of the black race the way black men do? Because black women are so toxic, they have to get with another toxic black men or black man to make themselves look good. Absolutely. That's why do you think they deal with the quote Pookies, quote Ray Rays, quote men that they don't like? How do I know they don't like them? It's because when they're done dealing with them, guess what they say to you, black man? Oh, he wasn't shit. That nigga wasn't shit. He was a abuser, and he was this and that. But he put his penis in you more than 15 times, let alone gave you 2 babies. Chris, that was a great assessment. That's why I gotta read the next comment that you're gonna say. Before I do that, I need all y'all to hit that like button and that subscription button, also the notification bell. Chris says that's the only way a black woman can make herself look like a saint is by being with a toxic black man. Exactly. Before I read that, I wanna break that down because she has to deal with the derogatory so that she can talk about it when she's done with it. Oh, he wasn't shit. He was an abuser. He was sexually abusive. He was not emotionally there for me. He had side bitches. He was a cheater. He was mentally unstable. He was a drug dealer, and he was in and out of jail. He was toxic, and he used to hit me. even though they like that, and they like makeup sex or whatever the case may be. I don't know why these black women like this makeup sex. And what I mean by that is they like to start shit with black men, and he put me in my place, meaning he pinned her against the wall, choked her out, fucked her, and then they love this crap, fam. They love this crap. Chris, you're bringing up great points. I promise to God, you are bringing up great points. But then they blame all black men when they done with this derogatory bull crap. They blame all black men. Let me continue reading what he said, and I want to start from the top because that was a great comment. He says, that's the only way a black woman can make herself look like a saint is by being with a toxic black man, by dealing with the least conducive man and talking the most crap about him, and then painting all black men like the men she let come inside of her and also let put the rod inside of her. He also says the moment she get with a black man who has common sense, you'll see that she is very toxic. Of course she's very toxic. What she does is she tells herself, because of my past, I'm gonna break it down, because of my past trauma, um I, I I'm not emotional, I'm less talkative, I'm this and I'm that, which is a lie. Okay, which is a big lie. They're only doing this because their past trauma does not allow them to be conducive in a relationship. You ever heard a girl say, "Oh, you know what? This is the guy for me." Um, he looks good and he's doing all the right things. He's a gentleman. I'm not. I don't want to just have sex with him yet. That same bitch will fuck a pookie and be like, "Oh no, I wasn't feeling him like that. I was just having fun that night, and it was just a one night stand. It wasn't nothing. I wasn't feeling him like that." Why do you think they give these men their highest honor, but give the other guys who they don't see until after they're traumatized their lowest honor? Why do you think they do that? It's exactly what Chris explained, and I'm going to read that comment one more time. He says that's the only way black women can make herself look like a saint is by being with a toxic black man. The moment she get with a black man who has common sense, you'll see that she is very toxic. They take on the demons and don't know how to deal with them. Great excerpt. We got Zone 864 TV in the building. One more time, one more time. This is an open panel, and I need you guys to come in if you got some things to say, because we're not done yet. We're not done yet. We got more to talk about, but we are closing out very soon. Chris also says the first thing a toxic black woman does after she breaks up with a responsible black man, she goes out and gets a toxic black man and brings that toxic black man into her household, all up around her children. I agree with that 100%. The black woman did this to us. Guys, I'm pinpointing Chris's comments because he's spot on. It's because he is spot on. Most black women that don't like the black men they deal with, whether he's toxic, pookie, or lame, gentlemen that they keep in the friend zone, they raised these guys. They raised them. And the men that they want to deal with, which is to say that a minority of them are alphas, high value providers, they didn't raise that guy. That guy had to raise himself. Debate me on that.
In some situations, maybe more irrational, or I don't know. It's a lot to it.
I got you.
Like,
What was wrong? What was so hard about that? What was that?
I never said that it was hard, but I feel like you just because I wasn't directly answering the question that you put out there, you had a perspective that I was making it hard, but I was just adding more perspective to the dialogue.
It wasn't a dialogue, sweetheart. It was a question. I don't need you to add any extra perspective. I don't need you to lie to people and tell them it was a dialogue. It could have been a dialogue had you answered the question, but it wasn't a dialogue. You see how they try to this is an educated black woman, by the way, guys. They think they're smart as fuck because they enrolled affirmative action or put them in college. They learned a couple words and they think they smarter than you. They dumb. They dumb. She didn't add no perspective to the dialogue. Adding perspective to a dialogue is to be conducive to it. And how would you be conducive, ma'am? Is by answering my fucking question, which you did not. And you broke down that you didn't do it. You admitted you didn't answer the question. Okay? This is what a lot of black men have to go through. Stop arguing with incompetent black women like this. Notice I ain't say much. I let her speak for the sake of showing you guys the nonsense and the rhetoric and the mind state of the black women. It might seem common collective, but the mind state is reciprocated with these fucking ratchet beasts. I promise you.
What was that
I never
rhetoric?
said that it was hard, but I feel like you just because I wasn't directly answering the question that you put out there, you had a perspective that I was making it hard, but I was just adding more perspective to the dialogue.
Well, you opened up by saying it was rhetoric. So that's why I said, like, hold on, whoa.
Do you want to Google the word rhetoric?
Rest in peace to you, Kevin Samuels. Shame, insult, guilt, and the need to be right. She's the one that said, I said rhetoric. And then now she's trying to shame me again by asking me, do I want to Google it because she wants to make me look dumb. This is the playbook of a modern black woman, guys. This is her playbook. She is the John Madden of modern black woman right now when it comes to the playbooks. Like you can't make it up. You can't.
The dialogue.
Well, you opened up by saying it was rhetoric. So that's why I said, like, hold on, whoa.
Do you want to Google the word rhetoric?
I know what rhetoric means, sister, but I appreciate your answer though. I really do.
Okay. Well, that's what I'm saying. I just don't. I'm like, what was the problem with me saying it was rhetoric?
No
like,
problem.
what?
It wasn't no issue. It wasn't no issue.
Okay.
It wasn't no issue.
I'm like, what we're having right now: rhetoric, narrative, dialogue, dialect. Whatever. I mean, however you want to say it is the same thing.
That's how they flip it on you, you guys. All right. That's how they flip it on you all day. I needed you guys to see that. You feel me? That's how they flip it on you all day. At the end, you see how she was like, oh, yeah, I mean, rhetoric, this and that. This is the dialogue. They like when you let them win. Tell a woman what she wants to hear, and you got her. Okay? I want to read this comment by Chris. Again, Chris is the MVP of the show tonight. Shout out to Chris and OK, Let's Talk TV tonight, man. I appreciate you, my brother. What he says was, I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. Growing up, I was beta male, which is what a lot of us was. We that's what we can deal with. Okay, we ain't mad at you for that. All right, we ain't gonna shun you for that. And then he says, until I realized that the black woman was never going to choose me until she was well past her prime and had absolutely nothing to offer me. Okay, that's very understandable. A lot of us young black males, whether I don't care if we were in high school, middle school, whatever, we adore black women, the pro black community, etc. Like we can go on and on. We adore y'all. We fall in love with some of y'all, etc., etc. And you guys show us the nature of, hey, I don't want you, this and that. I don't, in the form of friend zoning, in the form of telling you, hey, I'm not fucking with you, in the form of calling you a scrub, etc., etc. Even in the form of some of them giving us their attention, but um, we're so soft towards their nature, which is to say that we tap into the feminine emotion that we think it's okay to allow ourselves to be ran over like that. But guess what, guys? We as men are not afraid to admit that a hoe is a hoe. But a woman, let you tell a woman that a having a high body count is a hoe. She's gonna be like, "Oh, you shaming," but da, da, da. She's gonna try. But here is a man, black man, telling you, "I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. Growing up, I was a bait." He's not. He's gonna keep it real with you because we understand logically why we were beta, why we did the things we did, and we understand how to get out of these things sooner or later. We age like wine, not milk, guys. We age like wine. We got time. We got time. Okay. Also says that's when I took the red pill and woke up from my beta male slumber. And I'm happy and I'm appreciative that you've woken up from that. I'm happy and appreciative of that. Last but not least, let's read this last comment from Chris. He says, I was 21 years old when I finally lost my virginity. Guys, I need y'all to, and ladies, I need y'all to understand the courage of this man and also the, you know, the sheer truth that he's spilling. He's not victimizing himself. He's not shaming himself. He's giving you his truth. And I want to read this comment and I'm loving it. I'm loving it because it's showing, you know, the logical nature of a male and separating the emotional nature from what males need to deal with. He says, I was 21 years old when I finally lost my virginity. It was to a woman who was 37 years old with 4 kids, and she had no walls. We can peep that. To my ladies who claim, oh, my pussy good, this and that. Even a virgin can understand that your walls ain't there. He also says, we fucked for 2 hours and not once did I feel like coming. It was terrible. Ah, man. Man. And the terrible part, Chris, was the fact that you're 21 years old virgin and you actually dealt with that 37-year-old with 4 kids. You could have guessed that that shit was going to be terrible. See, I hate when people be like, "Oh, she got 4 kids. That pussy must be good." No, it's not. That pussy is used up. Okay, it's used up. So stop playing with your life, guys. I lost my virginity at 14, and the girl ain't know I lost my virginity. She ain't know I was a virgin, but I know she wasn't no virgin. I could tell you that. Even though it was my first time, I just was like, yo, she's too experienced. I didn't pop the cherry. The thing ain't tight, etc., etc. So us as men, we innately can understand that. It's a different nature. So I understand what the brother was saying, man. I appreciate you for sharing your spill. That being said, if you guys have not done so already, hit that like button. Do that for me. Do that for me right now. It don't cost much. All it costs is a finger. Just scroll through real quick. Hit that like button. Also, if y'all haven't done so, follow me on Instagram. I'll put it on the screen. Okay, let's talk TV. Send me a DM. Mess with me. I follow back. I reciprocate energies, and I'm very proactive as a man. I'm one of them real ones that you come across that you want to be proactive with. Okay, do that. And last but not least, guys, hit that notification bell because OKL, Mr. OKL, will be back at you with more content. I appreciate you guys for sitting down with me in the dean's office. Shout out to the Righteous Fear and listening to what I had to say. I do this because I want y'all to get the conducive message. I want y'all to understand that you are not the only one out there going through it, let alone not the only one who understands what's going on. We hear you. So that being said, guys, that being said, we are going to close out. Like I always tell y'all, I'm going to play some of my music, some of my sounds. And by music, I don't mean my rapping, but just the music or the beats that I made. Listen to them, enjoy it with me. Feel free to comment while we listening to them. And we are out. We have reached the conclusion of the show. Thank you guys for joining the panel.
you